Hello and welcome to a very short service for Mothering Sunday. I wonder if you went out and got some flowers today to give to your mother. I wonder if you treated her to some chocolate. Today is Mothering Sunday and it always happens on the fourth Sunday in Lent. Mothering Sunday is a time when people remember their mums and they give thanks for their mums, and often they give them a special treat. Many years ago, young people would often work in domestic service. There would be a servant in a big house or something like that. And on the fourth Sunday of Lent, they would be given the day off so that they could go and visit their families and go and say hello to their mums. Perhaps on the way to visit their mums, they would pick some flowers from the verges along the side of the tracks. Perhaps they would pick some daffodils like this as a little gift for their mother. Nowadays, we still give flowers. In Lent, people often give up things like chocolate and cakes and special treats like that. So Mothering Sunday is also known as Refreshment Sunday, because you're allowed a day off from giving up those special treats. So if you have given your mum some chocolate today, don't worry, she's not breaking her Lenten fast. She's allowed a day off to eat the chocolate. Maybe you've made your mum a card instead, and I'm sure she absolutely loves it. One of the things I'm going to do today is read you a story from the Bible. I'm just going to move these flowers out of the way so that I can pick my Bible up and read you a story. This story is about a baby called Moses. It happens in ancient Egypt. A new pharaoh had come to power in Egypt, and he did not like the Hebrew people, and he made them work as slaves. They would have to do all the dirtiest, hardest jobs that the Egyptian people did not want to do. The pharaoh made them work very long hours, and they were often beaten if they tried to rest. More Hebrew people were being born in Egypt every year, and the pharaoh became afraid that one day they would turn against their Egyptian masters. So he ordered his soldiers to kill all the Hebrew boys as soon as they were born. One Hebrew mother had managed to hide her baby until he was 3 months old. After that, he was getting too big to hide, so she had to think of another way to protect him. His mother had named him Moses. She took him down to the water's edge of the great river Nile, and she set him afloat in a small basket that she had made of reeds. She was sad to see him float away, but she knew it was going to be the only way to save him. Her daughter Miriam followed that little basket as it floated down the river. Some distance down the river, an Egyptian princess was bathing in its clear waters, and she noticed the basket as it bobbed its way towards her. When she looked inside, she was surprised to see a small baby. "This must be a poor Hebrew child," she said to one of her handmaidens. And the princess felt so sorry for the little baby, she decided to keep him. Now Miriam, who had been hiding in the bulrushes, had an idea, and she boldly approached the princess. "Your Highness," she said, "I know of a very caring woman who could look after this baby for you." "Bring her to me," ordered the princess. Miriam ran off and returned with her mother, who was secretly delighted to see her baby son again. And she agreed that she would look after the baby until he was older, and then he would be taken to live with the princess at the palace. I wonder if you noticed that there were 3 women in that story. There was the real mother, who had to be very brave and give up her son so that he would be protected. there was the big sister who looked after the baby and was clever enough to think of a good idea to help bring the real mother and the baby back in touch. And then there was the princess, who wasn't the real mother, but she wanted to care for that child too. And when the child was older, she acted as if she was the mother. 3 women who all loved that little child. 3 women who all had motherly qualities and were able to raise the baby. It reminds us that not every baby is raised by their real mother. Sometimes it takes a different woman to look after the baby. And it doesn't matter who that person is, if they love that child and they use their motherly qualities to look after the young children. I was thinking today about all the things that mothers do, and it made me think of this box of tissues. Now, I'm just going to move that chocolate out of the way as well. In this box of tissues, I am going to take one of the tissues. It reminds me of when children fall over and their mothers help clean the wound up, maybe wash it down and help make it better. Maybe they take another tissue, and that reminds me of how mums are very good at wiping your tears away if you're sad or upset. And then I'm going to take a third tissue. That third tissue reminds me that mums don't just look after us when we've hurt ourselves or when we're feeling sad, but also when we're happy. Have you ever laughed so much that tears have come down your face? Or you're laughing so much when you're having a drink and you splurt it out everywhere, and you might need a tissue to clean the mess up because you've been laughing so much. Sometimes you might need a tissue because when you've been eating, you've ended up dribbling a little bit or spilling a little bit, and you use a tissue to clean it up. Well, I've put those layers of tissues there because they remind me of all the things that mums do. And then what I'm going to do with those tissues is I'm going to fold them backwards and forwards in a zigzag shape, just like a fan. I bet you've done that before with pieces of paper, made them into a fan shape, so that you can cool yourself down. What I've done with those is made them into a fan shape like that. And then I'm going to take a bit of sellotape and wrap it round the middle. I'm going to wrap it quite tight, and you'll see it looks as if I've got a fan either side of the sellotape. Now what I'm going to do is do something that mums have to do all the time, and that is do things patiently. I've got those 3 tissues and I'm going to separate them out. And when I've separated them out, I notice actually that each tissue had 2 layers. That means I can separate them out even more. Each bit of tissue can then be very, very carefully split up. And this is where you have to be super patient, just like those mums that you have around you who are patient and kind and loving. The other thing it reminds me of is that tissues are quite delicate, a bit like us. We have feelings that make us sad or happy, and our mums look after us. Sometimes we feel a bit delicate and we turn to our mums to make us feel better. The other thing I've noticed, that if I'm not very careful, I can actually tear that tissue paper, and sometimes it gets damaged. But you know what? That just doesn't matter, because even if things get damaged, even if they're not perfect, our mums still love us. It reminds me a bit of my mum. I know I wasn't perfect when I was a little girl. Sometimes I would do things wrong, or maybe I'd spoil things. But you know what? I know that my mum still loved me. She didn't expect me to be perfect. So if you do tear this tissue a little bit, don't worry too much. It's just a reminder that we are loved even when we're not perfect. Can you see now how this tissue is all coming out now and has been made into like a tissue ball? What I'm going to get now is a drinking straw, and if I put that straw on top of the sellotape, I'm going to get another bit of tape, and I'm actually going to stick that straw, and then I have made a flower, a bit like a great big carnation. Now, if you don't have any tissues, doesn't matter. Go and use a little bit of toilet roll instead. I take 2 pieces of toilet roll, and then another 2, and then another 2, and just like the tissues, I put them together. It's a little bit trickier if you do a small one, but you make the zigzag just the same, and you get that sellotape and you wrap it round the middle, just the same as the big tissues. So don't worry if you haven't got a box of tissues in your house. A little bit of toilet paper will do just as well. I'm going to show you another little trick you can do. If you've got a marker pen or a felt pen, you can squash the ends of your folded paper together and you can colour it. Maybe choose your favourite colour, or maybe choose your mum's favourite colour and just colour the ends. I've chosen pink for this one, but you can actually choose any colour you like. And then you do exactly the same thing. You open up the ends and then you separate them out. Again, you've got to be very patient so that you do it as carefully as you can. A reminder of how patient your grown-ups, how patient your mums are with you sometimes. I bet we annoy our mums sometimes, but you know what? Even if they get a little bit cross with us, they still love us. And they're still patient most of the time. And there we are, you can open the end up. As you can see where the felt pen is, it makes it look like the edges of a flower, a bit like a carnation. Very pretty flowers. And every time I open one of these pieces up, I'm thinking about all the things that my mum has done for me over the years. And then I get my next drinking straw, and I get my other bit of sellotape, and I fasten the drinking straw to my flower that I've made. And then I can just puff it all up. You see there how the colours just make it look a little bit more colourful. You can choose any colour you like, really. What I'm going to do now is I've actually made 2 more of these. So I've got 2 large ones and I've got 2 small ones. What I'm going to do now is I've got my vase here, and what I'm going to do is each time I put one of the flowers in the vase, I'm going to think of something that I'd like to say thank you for. A prayer for my mum, a thank you prayer. As I put this flower in my vase, thank you for my mum. Thank you for all the times that she has been patient with me, even when I do, well, things not quite right. Thank you for being so patient. I'm going to put this one in now. Thank you for my mum, who always loves me, even when I'm naughty and don't do the right thing. Thank you for my mum, who always looks after me. She looks after me when I'm happy. She looks after me when I'm sad. Thank you for my mum, for all the lovely things she does for me. When she feeds me, when I was little and she would go out and buy my clothes for me, when she used to provide all those lovely things in the house I have with her. Thank you, God, for all the wonderful things that our mums do for us. Thank you for our mums. Amen. I hope you've had a lovely day today with your mum. I hope you've enjoyed Mothering Sunday. I wonder if you gave them something special this morning as a little thank you gift. If you didn't manage to go to the shops and buy something for your mum, I bet she would love it if you made her a card yourself. I bet she'd love it if you made some flowers for her. Thank you, God, for our wonderful mothers. And thank you to all the mums who made us so happy and did their very, very best to bring us up properly. And thank you for all the mums that we've known who have done their very, very best for us. And we remember the mums that aren't with us anymore, the mums that have died. We remember the mums that maybe aren't our real mums, but they act like our mums and they look after us and they love us. So many good things to think about when we think about mums. I hope you've said thank you to your mum today for all the things she does for you. And I hope you have said, I love you to your mum. Because I know she loves you, even when we're not as good as we should be. So go off and give your mums a hug and say thank you. Enjoy the rest of Mothering Sunday.